Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy you could be here. We're going to wait just a few moments now that we are live and let folks come and join us. You can drop a hello into the chat. Let us know how you're doing tonight, and we will get started in just a minute. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to get started in just a minute. You can drop a hello in the chat. We're really happy you're here. I'm just checking to make sure that everything is working, and we're going to let a few minutes go by just to get everybody joining us. And I think we're figuring out a few technical things, because this is often a few little things usually have to get ironed out. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to get started in just a moment. Thanks for being here. We're going to get started probably one more moment. We're just working out a few things and letting folks join us. Thanks for being here, and please say hello in the chat. If you have questions tonight, you can put them in the chat at any time. We're going to be collecting them as we go along. We'll get started in about 30 more seconds. So go ahead at any point and put a question in the chat, and we're going to answer them in one batch at the end. So we're so happy everybody can be here tonight, and we will go ahead and get started. I'm Lily Mercogliano Easton, and I'm the camp director at Camp Wawa Segoya. I'm going to turn off my rainy day music. So we're going to get started. We're so glad you're here. Tonight we're going to be going over our safety protocols and new updates for this summer, answering any questions that you have. Want to start off by really encouraging guardians, parents, campers, folks who are new to camp, folks who are returning, whatever your experience is with us, we hope that you'll share questions. You can put those in the chat. And then I'm going to go through questions all together at the end. And if you're watching this later and you didn't get a chance to do a live question, then please do email me. It's lily@campwawa.org. And I'm happy to answer questions via email. I'm happy to have phone calls. And I'm also happy to do one-on-one Zooms or anything that's helpful as we get excited for summer, which is coming down the pipe so fast. So I'm going to share my screen now. And if you were here last month, this is a similar set of slides, and I'll go through what's different and also provide just the whole overview for anybody who is just seeing this for the first time. I just need to have screen sharing, Camp Wawa. Just one second and we'll get started. For those who are new to camp, camp on Zoom is a whole new thing for us. We're getting better and better at it. But just about every time we do something, we have a little new wrinkle. All right, I'm the host now, so here we go. All right. So we're so excited for this summer. I hope you're so excited for this summer. It's just an incredible opportunity to be out on our property, out on our lake, out together in our cabins. Every summer at camp is life-changing, and I know that this summer will be another one. This is our mission statement. Camp Wawa Sequoia is owned and operated by Smith Park of New York, which is a nonprofit that is devoted to the preservation and operation of our camp, the protection of our natural surroundings and historical integrity, and the continuation of traditional resident camping that improves the spiritual, mental, social, and physical attributes of young people in a supportive community. Everything that we're putting into this summer, all the ways that we're thinking about safety, we're thinking about our programming, we're thinking about our community building, all of that is really grounded in the mission statement that has rooted our camp for a very long time and been really integral since we went independent 5 seasons ago. Everything we're doing is also going to be really connected to what we love to do most at camp. So I updated this slide from last month with some of our other favorite things. Our camp is right on Harmon Pond. We do lots of swimming, lots of boating, singing, making new friends, cooking, hiking, sleeping out in tents, doing archery, friendship bracelets, having cupcake wars, making s'mores. It's really an incredible list of things that our campers have access to every day. And this summer, that is going to be at the core of how we think about our days, how we help our campers do the things that they love, try new things, and really, really get out and have a rejuvenating experience. A few reminders or just updates if folks are new to where we're at in our process during the pandemic. We operated last summer just with family camp. We did 7 weeks of family camp and it was totally awesome. This summer, we're so grateful we have the green light to open overnight camp. And so we'll be back with 4 weeks of overnight camp and 2 weeks of family camp, which are divided up into 4 sessions. So you can find information about all of our programs at campwawa.org. And we are just thrilled to be able to have our overnight camp staff back, our campers back, and really be diving into what is the core of our mission and the core of what we do. Like we reviewed last month, we are licensed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We work with the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and we are also following guidance from the CDC, from the American Camp Association, and we partner closely with the Massachusetts Camp Association. And this has been a slide that we have shared with our board, with our staff, with our campers. It's really being looked at widely within youth settings, and it helps us to just see the approach that we're taking when it comes to safety during this pandemic. So you'll see over on the one side, you have these little green germs, and each slice of cheese in this slide really helps us to think about one way that individuals or the camp as a whole is trying to prevent COVID-19 from coming to camp and also mitigating its spread while it's there. And as it goes along, it really stops with the most thorough tool that we have now at our disposal, which is vaccines. So we'll talk tonight about some of the different things that we'll be doing to really help give us this overall system of support for the summer. So our guidelines came in March 23rd, and I'll go through those slides, and they've been updated with sections in italics if it's new to that particular slide that we already saw last month, or I have a few totally new slides added in. So before camp starts, everyone will be asked to do a self-quarantine for 10 days and monitor symptoms for COVID-19. So I've added to this slide what we are hoping will be the definition of this 10-day self-quarantine. We are still in dialogue with our local Board of Health, so this will get updated by May 15th with the final definition. But at this point, we're thinking about it as staying home as much as possible, monitoring temperature and symptoms, wearing a mask and social distancing anytime a camper or a staff member is in the presence of someone from outside your immediate family, avoiding indoor group activities outside your home. So I'm really happy to answer questions about this particular section. I know that families have been asking about it. Again, this isn't final, but we are submitting it for review, and we'll have a final answer in the next few weeks. Then campers and staff will be submitting via campdoc.com, which is where you have your camper registration profile. a negative test within 72 hours of traveling to camp. And I have a slide coming up a little bit that gives us a little bit more information about testing, which is something that's still ongoing research for us. Everyone will travel to camp using best practices. And I know that some folks are waiting to hear about air travel. And we'll have an update later this week. We have a meeting with our statewide Department of Health tomorrow on April 26th. And that's a key question that we'll be bringing to get clarification, as I'm sure lots of other camp leaders who will be there will also be curious about any restrictions to air travel or best practices that we'll be sharing. Checking into camp, much of this is similar to last month. We'll be doing all of check-in at the top of the hill. Staff and campers will receive an additional test when you arrive at camp. Anyone who is not part of the overnight camp community going forward won't go into base camp. So everything will stay at the top of the hill. Our camp nurse, Nella, she'll be available. We'll, do typical intake procedures, anything that's needed from meds to last minute questions to notes will all happen there at the top of the hill. Camp counselors this summer will receive additional training and support so that they're there to really help campers settle into their bunks and do all the things like take tours and have swim assessments and all the typical stuff that we usually do on the first day. We will have our final drop-off protocol on May 15th. And do just want to ask at this time that families please prioritize filling out your camper's healthcare profile. So you do that via your CampDoc account. And just to start anticipating increased communication prior to coming to camp and the possibility that we'll be changing our traditional drop-off time. So we may create a wider window for drop-off. We may be asking certain cabins to come at certain times or certain programs to come at certain times. We're heading out to camp and really assessing what is going to be the smoothest and most supportive and safest way to have all of our campers come through and get down to camp and settle in for their session. Then once the session starts off, we will have cabin pods of 6 to 8 campers. They'll be staying together for the whole session. And we will be wearing masks when we're not in our pods or our cohorts. We'll have cabin-based activities. Really, we're giving a good hard look at all of our favorite activities and thinking about how we can adapt them for this summer. And we'll give a note in May about travel outside of camp. Most field trips won't happen this summer. We'll really stay focused on our property. We have over 450 acres. We are looking at the possibility of a few day trips each week for our teen camp program, which usually leaves for multi-night programs. And we're looking at adapting that to some special day camp programs for this summer. We will be looking where we are adding some things to camp for increased hand washing, really thinking about how to keep camp cleaner than ever, sanitize multiple times a day, and things like that. We've added staff positions to support that. And we also have been out to camp and we've confirmed that our base camp will be eating inside our camp dining hall. And that teen camp, CITs, and leadership staff will be eating at covered tables in the parking lot or in the lodge on the side porch in the event of a storm. So we really wanted to prioritize eating our meals all together as a camp. That's a typical camp tradition for us. Our meals and mealtime is a really special way to pause during the day. We have great food. It's a great time to talk. We always do camp announcements during that time. So we want to keep everybody on the same routine. So we're going to keep meals at the same time during the day. And in order to do that, we need to spread out where folks are eating. And we really wanted to prioritize a way for those not eating in base camp to be able to have their dining area already set up as much as possible. So we have this nice flat area right outside the dining hall. We'll be putting up tents and providing a really nice place for everyone to eat there. And then if it's a stormy or exceptionally cold or something like that period of time, then we'll use the rest of our main lodge, which is certainly big enough. It will just require adapting that recreational space or taking down tables. So that's exciting. We have our meal plan and we'll all be eating meals together. So in terms of when a camper or staff gets sick, we'll be monitoring symptoms. If anyone has symptoms of COVID-19, we will be looking to get a rapid test so that we can know what their status is. We'll be in touch with families so that parents know all along how the camper is doing, what the test results are, and what the next steps will be. We have decided that in the event that indoor isolation is needed, so if a camper tests positive for COVID-19 and is waiting to get picked up, or if a camper is staying at camp while they have a cold or something that's not COVID, but continues to be symptomatic, and this would all happen in communication with families in terms of what's going to be best to keep that camper comfortable, then that will happen in Page Lodge. Page Lodge is at the top of our hill, and it's a nice, usually used for volunteers or staff lodge. In the summer, it will be for isolation. It has its own kitchen. It has its own bathroom. It'll always be staffed by a healthcare supervisor or the nurse. It has its own phone. It has its own phone line. So just a lot of things that make it easy for us to adapt that for the summer and keep that as a really good, comfortable place for campers if they need to be isolated. So we are still working on our final testing protocol. We are glad that we have several options in Massachusetts and actually in neighboring Connecticut, because we're right there on the border. A few things that are really defining our research at this time is the accuracy and the timing of when the results would come. So for those first day tests, for when folks come on site, we're looking for tests that are PCR tests that would have strong accuracy and would give us results in under 48 hours. As I said before, for tests if a camper is symptomatic, we're looking at rapid test options so that we could get results very quickly. We're also looking at affordability, so tests that are not cost prohibitive, and most of what we're looking at would be billed through most campers' insurance. And then we're also looking at what things we can do that are most supportive for us as a remote location. So for folks who are new to Camp Wawa, we are 20 minutes from any larger town, and we're pretty remote. So we are looking at what might be able to ease any extra staff time in transporting results. So if we're able to prioritize a vendor that can come and pick up our samples, then we will. And we're also looking at the possibility of mobile rapid test options if there's going to be any way to save us from needing to take a camper who's symptomatic off-site. If there's going to be ways that we can run that test either at camp or have a mobile facility come and do it, then that will be prioritized. So we will be giving our final testing protocol on May 15th, and we'll review it at our May update, which will be formatted similar to this. I've added a new slide just to highlight what we're doing when it comes to staff wellness this summer. We have some really great new updates. We will be having all of our camp staff stay at camp for the 5 weeks that we have for our overnight summer. That's 1 week of staff training and 4 weeks of the sessions. We are able to incorporate typical staff time off routines this summer, which was a really high priority for us. We are doing 2 counselors per each base camp cabin, and that's going to give us the flexibility that we need to still have counselors cover campers when one counselor is off. And we're also supporting our camp staff to get vaccinated and have had really great response so far, and just super appreciate what it is that our staff is doing to prepare for the summer. We've done some peer education from staff that are already vaccinated. We've been giving vaccine information out in our pre-staff meetings, and our healthcare supervisor, Nella, has been really generous with her time and being available to answer staff questions, provide resources for where staff can get vaccinated, and just really supportive of us looking at this opportunity to take on the best form of protection possible for this summer. And as we wrap up the presentation, just wanted to add some ways that you can help get ready for this summer. I'm sure that families are starting to get really excited, and we know it's right around the corner. We just want to encourage folks to continue to follow the protocols in your area, and let's all work together to help slow the spread of the virus. Again, really want to ask that families fill out your camper health profile. So there's some key things that are needed in there. Every camper is going to need a physical completed by your pediatrician or another doctor within the last 12 months. We need a full immunization schedule or an exemption form. We need health history. There's a few tabs there. There's a list. You're going to tell us what medications or over-the-counter treatment that your camper can get this summer in the event they get hurt or sick. So please take some time and do your campdoc.com profile. That really helps us prepare for the summer. We have an open house coming up on June 12th, and we hope folks will spread the word. And then we also have 3 volunteer days coming up in the next couple of months, and you're welcome to come and join us. We always have a wide range of things happening out at camp, and you can email me to get more information. And then I hope you'll stay tuned. May is going to be a big month from us. We'll be sharing all sorts of updates, and that's when we'll have our published COVID-19 protocols. And now I'll take questions. I'm going to take them via a texting, so there'll be a little bit of a lag, but any questions you have, put them in the chat, and if you put them in earlier, we'll start pulling them up. I noticed that we paused for a minute, so I apologize for that. So just put in the chat if there's any slide that I need to go back to. So the first question that I have is that testing will be required 48 hours prior to arriving. What if the results aren't back? Should the kids get rapid testing, or can they come with results pending? That's a great question. And also, I really apologize. I noticed that when I was doing the slides, and I'll send out a correction. It's 72 hours. So we'll be doing final instructions about this in the next few weeks, but we anticipate that likely for our campers that are coming out on a Sunday, you'll be going to get a test on a Wednesday to get those results back by Friday and submit them. So we will have the final determination about that in the next few weeks, but that's a great question. We will need results to be back before you can come to camp. So we can't have campers come to camp who have pending results. And I really apologize for that mistake in leaving a whole day off of it when I emailed it. Will staff be taking time off outside of camp, and what are the protocols around that, particularly if any are not vaccinated? So staff will not, no staff, regardless of their vaccination status, will be taking time off of camp. We will do field trips for staff that are off. So we'll go to drive-throughs, we'll go to safe outside activities where masking and social distancing can really, and like avoiding crowds and all sorts of precautions can be monitored. We'll do probably trips to Target, which is a typical thing, and now we'll be able to do pickup. But no staff, regardless of their vaccination status, will be doing time off on their own off of the camp property for those 5 weeks. And it looks like we may have another question. I really appreciate these questions. So there's a question about if the pre-camp tests are expected to be PCR tests. That is a really good question, and I don't have the answer right now. So I'll review it with our healthcare supervisor, and then we're also meeting with the Massachusetts Department of Health tomorrow, and do expect to have more information given then about testing expectations, and we'll send that information out and then also have it available in May. And that might be all the questions. I want to thank everybody so much again for coming. Thank you for your questions. If you have more questions, please do email me. And please keep in touch. We're really, really happy to talk about this summer, and we're getting so excited every day that we get to count down and get closer to it. And I just want to apologize for any of the problems with the slides. All of the slides will be posted. We had a little bit of issues with the live streaming tonight. And so this video itself will be posted, but also the slides themselves. So please feel free to check those out individually and be in touch if you have any questions. And I want to thank everybody and hope you all have a really, really good night and a good week ahead.